prioritize profits over public safety.
Mm-hmm.
I did not hear, not one hint, any suggestion that government regulation is what keeps your rivers and lakes free of industrial chemical waste, hazardous waste discharge, our landfills free of hazardous waste, our water aquifers free of hazardous waste. None of these suggestions. It didn't hear anything about keeping our food and drinking water safe from toxic and hazardous chemicals, heavy metals, all being discharged. If they are without government regulation, capitalist, unscrupulous actors will prioritize profits over public safety. And did you hear any suggestion that government regulation is what keeps your air clean, free of poisonous contaminants? Nope, I didn't hear anything like that. And factually, if I think back over the last several years, I have not heard any of that. I haven't heard them say, look, this is what we want to do for you. We want to help make your atmosphere clean, your water, keep it clean, potable. We don't want to be contaminated with lead like Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
You never hear them tell the American people that this is what we want to do for you. No, it's always, we need to get rid of government regulation because it is strangling, it is suffocating the means of production in America.
And yet we have, our economy is the envy of the world.
It's the envy of the world.
Our stock market breaks records every week. It just continues to go up in spite of Trump having told us that if Biden won the election, it would crash. And full employment. So these regulations aren't strangling business. They may make it a little more difficult to be in business, but there's a reason for them, and it's usually a result of something happened happened that compelled them to generate the regulation.
Automotive industry producing cars under government regulation produced the safest vehicles in the world.
No doubt.
You don't. Are you really seriously suggesting to me that you don't want exhaust emissions regulated? Give me a break.
Yeah, of course we do.
I can't believe that there's people that oh no, we shouldn't have the government regulation interfering in the means of production. Let them create all the smog they want.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, Jim, listen, we got to take a short break now for some messages. Jim Young is my guest today, my co-host. I'm Ed Golly. This is the Voice of Reason. We will return shortly with more of the issues the conservatives never want you to hear about.
Arbor Life Tree Service is Tampa Bay's finest tree service company. From trimming, pruning, fertilizing, to grinding and removal, you get an experienced, ISA certified and veteran owned firm that can do any tree job, large or small. With our fully equipped fleet and trained crew members, we care for trees of all sizes, whether you're government, contractor, business, or homeowner. And if your land has been affected by Hurricane Helene or Hurricane Milton, don't trust just anyone with a chainsaw. Call Arbor Life Tree Service at 727-330-1999 for a quick and free estimate. That's 727-330-1999. Arbor Life Tree Service. They go out on a limb for you.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason on the TAN Talk Radio Network. Are you a writer, inventor? Do you have questions about your intellectual property rights? Well, tune in every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 11 o'clock for Joy on Paper. Once a month, I will have a special guest, the writer's legal eagle, Bill Larson of Larson & Larson, who can answer your questions. Protect your valuable work. Email me your questions to patsy.radio@gmail.com and then listen in every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. right here on Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network. That's patsy.radio@gmail.com.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
And if you'd care to offer Mr. Young the benefit of your opinion, you may do so by email at WTANvoice@AOL.com. WTAN Voice, all one word. Before we get to poll watch, I want to say something. I actually hired Arbor Life Tree Service to come to my place and cut down some trees that looked to be, expired. They're
a threat.
Yes, to the power lines, and looked like they could fall down in a heavy wind. And I had that done earlier this summer. And at the house next door, he cleaned up all the tree, plus a great big branch that hung out over the roof of my house, as a result of which I had no tree damage from the storm. And I'm sure those trees, well, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I think there's a high likelihood that some of those really heavy trunks would have come down. They knew exactly what to cut and what not to cut and how to do it right without damaging anything. So I'm glad that I went ahead and did that in advance. What else? Oh, it's time for poll watch. Did you know that only 32% of Americans think the job being done by the Secret Service is good or excellent, down from 55% last year? After the 2 assassination attempts of Trump, the share of people who say that the agency's work is poor has risen from 13% to 36%. So 1 out of 3 Americans think they're doing a bad job. And this, Jim, 72% of Americans think artificial intelligence companies should be more regulated. 66% want more regulation of the pharmaceutical industry, and 60% want more regulation of social media companies, not less. Only 38% support more regulation of the cannabis industry. So it seems that with all these complaints about government regulation that you were just talking about, the fact is Americans don't fall in line with that. They actually approve of regulation because they understand how it helps to protect them from anything, from an auto accident to clean water to a safe meal at a restaurant to safe working conditions. All of those things come about because the government saw problems and introduced the regulations that the corporations would not do on their own.
Yeah. Well, maybe that accounts for the other half of the country that is not going to be voting Republican in November. Maybe it's the half of the nation that realize that these communist Democrats are actually on their side, that are trying to keep them safe. And this extends to every facet of industry and the means of production and things like our air travel. If you can think of it, there is government regulation needed to protect the interests of the American people. And half of the population, I'm sure, are aware of this. And maybe that's the reason they have not yet been transformed by Joseph Goebbels' strategies into hating Kamala Harris and all the Democrats. Now, I want to say one thing here, because I realize that there is probably some Republicans sitting out there and thinking to themselves, well, Jim Young, you just hate every Republican. And I want to say that that's really not true. there actually are some Republicans that I admire. And we're going to roll the tape here at this point, and you can hear for yourself.
I got to ask you a question. I do not believe in, I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not. No?
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
It's John McCain feeling.
I have to admire John McCain for standing up against the Joseph Goebbels hate rhetoric, the misinformation. He took a stand in public. Now, he may have cost him the election. It might have, because a lot of Republicans did not like the fact that he stood up for the truth. Obama is a good man.
And an American.
You
remember it was
not
Trump that said that, started the birther issue.
Yes.
Too, and started fanning the flames.
And why does Donald Trump hate John McCain? Because he stood up to
Yeah, you're right.
this fascist playbook, which Trump loves. So I want to. He's not the only American that I have taken note of. I've listened to, and I've said, "Whoa, wait a minute! This guy is not a sycophant of Donald Trump." Play the tape.
The amount of disinformation is really extraordinary, although it's not just being put out by the Russians and the Chinese. I mean, former President Trump told us that the people in Springfield are eating dogs and cats, all right? I mean, he likewise said that FEMA money, our emergency money, instead of helping the people that have been hit by the hurricane, is being used to help illegals. I mean, he just makes it up. And so he is able to spew enough disinformation that the Chinese must be smiling.
That's Mitt Romney, of course.
Well, yes, Mitt
16
Romney,
years later.
another presidential candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the Republicans nominated Mitt Romney, they were picking a candidate of ethical integrity. When they nominated John McCain, they were nominating a candidate of ethical integrity. And today they hate the very people they nominated to be their president. They hate them because they had ethical integrity. There were more voices back then. I'm going to give you some quotations from those voices. This is Lindsey Graham, 2015. You know how to make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. If we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed and we will deserve it. Okay. Tim Scott, 2016. If Donald Trump can't take a stand against the KKK, we cannot trust him to stand up for America against Vladimir Putin, Iran, or ISIS. Marco Rubio, 2016. Donald Trump is a con artist. He is the most vulgar person to ever aspire to the presidency. Ted Cruz in 2016 calls Trump a pathological liar and a narcissist at a level I don't think this country has ever seen. Also says, Donald, you are a sniveling coward. Oh, and Kevin McCarthy in 2016 likens Trump to Benito Mussolini.
Whoa.
Vivek
Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy